So a few months ago, we came together and we had the celebration. And it was a moment where we paused and people from a long time ago showed up in the space and we celebrated. It was incredible. How many people were here for that? It was pretty amazing. And I don't want to recreate that, but I also want to fully acknowledge that this is the last service in the space. And it was interesting because as I was coming in and I was processing, getting ready for this talk, boy, there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of energy that's going on right now. And there's some excitement with the new space, and yet there's also some sadness that's going on. And I also know and want to fully acknowledge there's some people here this morning that are going through some pretty tough times. And so there's this stuff that's going on, this energy is going around, and I was talking to everybody in our prayer circle this morning, and I was like, it kind of feels like this. It's like, man, what do I do with all of this? And so there's this human part of me that just wants to go forward, attack what the next steps are, and then there's this other part of me that's kind of going, whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. Anybody there? Anybody? Yeah, I think that's what's going on in these times. And so, as I sit here and I come together and I think about, great, Mike, what are we going to be talking about this morning that hasn't already been said? And I thought about it, and to me, it's almost like we've got two of the bookends. And this is one of the bookends. And it's called the end of this one. It's the final letting go. And with the final letting go, there, of course, is going to be all this energy around letting go. Because sometimes letting go doesn't feel good. And I don't care if you're making a transition from one job to another job. I don't care if you're making a transition in your life. I don't care what kind of a transition it is. Sometimes we're letting go of friends and family. There's pain. Why? Why is it there? Because we love. That's why. We love. Love is what makes the world go round. And everybody always wants to talk about the beautiful, amazing, incredible things called love and how awesome it is. And it is. But what happens energetically, in case you don't know this, is that when we love, we are literally connecting a cord with whatever it is that we're sending our love to. This is real. And what happens is when we say goodbye, guess what happens to that cord? That cord gets severed. And when that cord gets severed, energetically, what I'm telling you is you are going to experience some type of pain. That's the truth. I wish I could sit up here and sugarcoat it. I wish I had a way to make it feel better. The only thing that I know to make it feel better is to try to the best of your ability to go within and have the people around you support you. That's it. Go within, reach out to the people that are here that love you and care about you, and wish nothing but the best for you to the best of your ability. And I really think when you talk about the messages of Jesus, and you talk about the Fillmores, and you talk about everything else they talked about, I really think that's what they were trying to say. Love does make the world go round. But there's risk involved. And then the question is, well, are you going to risk it? Are you going to risk it? Are you going to love? With the understanding that at the end, it might hurt a little bit. And so I think about that with everything that everybody's got going on right now. And even this building in this space. We're letting go. A lot of you have put an incredible amount of time and energy into the space. Whether it's doing something physically to this building, or whether it's working in the children's program or whether it's serving on the board, whatever. There's been a lot of energy put into this space. There's a lot of love in this building. Lots. And now what's happening? It's time to let it go. What are we doing? We're cutting the cord. That's what's happening. And so I want to just fully acknowledge that. I don't want to run away from it. I don't. And I'm going to encourage you not to run away from it. And whether it's this building or something else that you've got going on in your life, don't run away from it. We do have the ability to heal and process. There's this thing that's called grief. It's real, very real. And it's a matter of just spending time and allowing grief to have its moment. Like everything else in life, there's a season for everything, including a season for grief. There is. Allow it. Be with it. It's an incredibly healing moment, even though it doesn't feel like it. I get it. I totally understand it. But the fastest way to process it is not to run from it or hide from it or do everything else to avoid it. It's to actually just be with it and allow the energy to do what the energy needs to do. It's perfectly capable of healing if you will just let it do what it needs to do. And so what does that mean? If you feel like you need to cry, cry. If you need a hug, ask somebody for a hug. If you want to go eat 10 pounds of chocolate, go eat 10 pounds of chocolate. It's whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, but you need to honor yourself and take care of yourself and love yourself and not ignore it. That's what happens when all of a sudden this energy that's showing up and that cord has been cut and you're sitting there wide open. It's kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? There's a lot of pain there. And what do I do with it? Take care of yourself. It's painful. It hurts. I had somebody explain it to me one time. It's like you get hit by a Mack truck emotionally, and if you were to walk out of the door and get hit by a Mack truck physically, you would probably wind up in the hospital for a long time. There is no difference. But for some reason, and it upsets me, that this society will not acknowledge the pain that's involved that we go through emotionally, and we're supposed to just pretend like it's not there. And, oh, well, we'll let you have a weekend to take care. Shouldn't you be able to take care of this for a weekend? I mean, isn't that enough time to grieve? Hell no, it's not. No. Each and every one of us has our own timing. Each and every one of us has to go through the process. And is that going to take 2 days or is it going to take 2 years? I don't know what it's going to take you to heal. I don't know what the energy needs to do within you. I don't know. Nobody does. But I promise you this, it's not sitting in a little box that's perfect with a little bow on it that says, oh, we're just going to take a weekend and then we're going to grieve this, and then guess what? Everything's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wonderful, and then we're done grieving. If I was ever going to say a swear word, it would be right now, because that's what it is. BS. It is. My God, you're a live, living expression of the divine. We are energy. That's what we do. We're all about energy. That energy needs to move. All of the energy. But Mike, we just want to talk about good stuff and be happy and fluffy up here. No, that's not reality. That's not how it works, folks. We are all of it. We're the entire expression of the divine. And in order for us to embrace it, guess what? You got to embrace all of it. Not just a little piece of it that's warm and fuzzy and cuddly. I mean, that's fun. Let's get real about it. That is kind of fun. But there's this whole piece of it. And when we start to understand, and now we get to take in all the parts of reality. We get to take in the divine. We get to take in the psychological. We get to take in the neuroscience. We get to take in all of these pieces that fascinate me personally. All of it does, because we are so complex, and yet we're so simple. Right? And it's this process of, well, what do we do with this stuff? You live. You allow that expression that is asking to come forward through you, even in grief. You allow it to come forth. You don't judge yourself. You don't shame yourself. You don't blame yourself. You don't try to affirm your way out of it. That's called bypassing, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. No, you embrace all of it, because all of it is the divine. All of it is the divine. And so it's this moment and this time in our life when all of a sudden the stuff shows up and something happens and now we're in grief. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not, but I can promise you that if you will just trust yourself, to trust this process, to trust God, to trust other people. In other words, for a moment, could we actually do something? Could we actually set ourselves outside of ourselves, as crazy as that sounds, and realize that this human being, insert your first name here, is going through a grieving process and needs some help, some support, and some love? And if you were looking at this person outside of yourself, what would you want to do? You'd probably want to go up and give him a big hug, wouldn't you? You'd probably want to go forward and take care of them. You probably want to do something and tell them ultimately, please do me a favor, please, 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 please do me a favor. And just take care of yourself and to love yourself, whatever that means. And I'm here for you. I want you to understand that. I am here for you. I am here in your prayers. I'm here in your thoughts. Do you need me to go pick you up some chocolate ice cream? Do you need me to go? What do you need me to do? I'm here for you. In other words, you're looking at this person, you, understanding that there's stuff that's going on, and they may not be on their A game, as the saying goes. And you know what? We all have those times in our life. We all have those times in our life when we're not on our A game. We all have those times in our life where we are in pain, and we're in suffering, and we're in grief, and we're in all this stuff. Oh man, though, we can't talk about it. We can't be real about it. We can't let anybody on the planet know I'm suffering. And we sugarcoat it. How are you? Yeah, I'm okay. How you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. Even though deep inside your guts are being ripped out and you can't know if you can even get out of bed in the morning. And that's life, because that's what happens, right? I just think sometimes we just need to have real conversations, and I think sometimes we don't. That's what I think. And I would love to see us be more open and honest and real with each other about what's going on than to put a big fat smiley face on it when we don't feel like a big fat smiley face. I get it. Unity is all about positive Christianity. I'm for positive Christianity. It's not that I'm against it. All I'm saying is there's times in our life when stuff happens. And as a result, we wind up going through a difficult time. And it's part of life. So let's just get real about that. And when that shows up, my hope and prayer is that we can create an environment around here that allows us to come together and support each other when we're having those moments as a family to the best of our ability. Get together, pray for each other, hold each other, hug each other, love each other, and, in my opinion, do the things that Jesus said to do. That's kind of what he said. He said, show up and basically love each other. I know, there's a bunch of other stuff they wrote in the book he said. I get it. But I think when you really boil it down, it's just show up and be a good person. Show up and use love, like real love. Use compassion, real compassion. Use forgiveness, real forgiveness. Allow people to be, people, human beings on a third-dimensional planet that have good days and bad days. Don't judge them. And when you feel like they're struggling, when you feel like they're having those kind of days, couldn't we just show up and very easily just walk up and give somebody a hug? Tell them you love them. And be there for them. I think that goes a long ways. And I think coming back to this space and this time and this moment, in terms of the other bookend, the terms of letting go, as we process this with everything else that's going on in our individual lives, we can come together and we can look at the space and we can honor it. I just want you to take a moment for the people in here and just look around. How many talks? How many weddings? How many funerals? How many things? If these walls could talk, if this building could talk, what an amazing space that's been created here. And I think about that, and I think about some of the I think about like Ida Bailey, who started this whole thing years and years and years ago. And I think, wow, she was here for 30 years, not necessarily in this building, but she started this whole thing. And the people that built it and everything that they gave, I think to myself, holy cow, did they have any idea what it was that they were going to be building and what this building would mean for so many people? And so I want to remember that, but I also, in my mind, want to also fully acknowledge Ada. Because for me personally, what I feel is happening is we're not just saying goodbye to this building, but we're really saying goodbye to the old unity in Grand Rapids. And next week, guess what happens? We start the new. We start the new unity in Grand Rapids at the new building. And I just want to fully acknowledge that. And I'm hoping together we can fully acknowledge that. We can fully acknowledge, totally embrace and accept what's happened in the past. Thank you, God. Thank you, amazing human beings that came before us. Thank you for all of it, the good and the bad. And then we slide over, and then next week, guess what happens? Now it's time for the new. And this next week, it's kind of like what I want to do is I just want to pause for a moment and have you really contemplate what that means. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for us as a church family? What are we doing? Right? I mean, we are literally letting go of a 100-year history. Beautiful history, amazing history, incredible history. And now we're going to walk over here, and it's going to be a new history. What's that going to look like? And so myself, in this process of what is that going to look like, I'm asking myself, well, what is it going to look like? We got a pretty amazing building. Looks pretty cool to me. It's kind of fun. In some ways, it's similar because the wood in it reminds me a lot of this space. I don't know about you, but it does when I walk in there. It's like, wow, check out all this. So it's a beautiful new space. And in my opinion, it's like a brand new baby. And what are we going to do with that brand new baby? How are we going to love it? How are we going to love each other? What are we going to do to create something fun To me, that's what it's all about. This amazing journey that we're on is, what are we going to create? Let's make it really cool. Like really cool. Let's make it fun. Let's make it lively. Let's put some energy back into it. Let's help each other, support each other. And then let us do something when we walk out the doors and go make an impact in the community that we live in. I think that would sound pretty amazing to me. I think that would be really, really fun. But what I'm asking you to do is to figure out what it is that would be fun to you. Because what would be fun to you might not be fun to me, but it might be fun to somebody else. And what I'm saying with that is that each and every one of us has something inside of us, the spiritual drive. And my question to you is, what is that for you? What inspires you spiritually? What excites you spiritually? What is calling you forward in your own spiritual development and growth? And then do me a favor. When you figure it out, call me. I want to know. I really, 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 really do. Look, some of you folks get to know me outside of this up here. And you know me, I love to play, I love to explore, I like looking at all kinds of stuff. Why? Because it fascinates me. That's why. And so I'm always looking at crazy stuff. And so I just want to be able to know what it is that you want, because I can get up here and do what I do, and I love it. Thank you very much, by the way, for supporting this. But it's more important for me what you want and what your heart is calling you to move forward in, whatever this new thing that we're going to do together. That's what the most important thing for me is, what you want and what we want. And so I'm leaving you with a little bit of a homework assignment. Didn't know you were going to get that this morning, did you? Now, so in this course of this next week, there's a letting go of this, and then there's the welcoming of the new. And I'm going to ask you to just take some time and really think about, what does that mean? What does that look like for you? How can I help you? How can I support you? What sounds like fun to you? What really, really, really excites you about your own spiritual development and growth? And then call me up and let's go have some coffee. Let's go talk. Let's go have a conversation. Oh, I don't know. Let's get together and have some connection. What a concept. Right? And if in that process there's some sadness, don't think that you got to stand there and just be stoic and just be like, yep, we're moving. Let me know. Let somebody else know. You need a hug. You need to have a talk. You just need somebody to be there for you. Let's think about that. And be real. And show up. And be authentic. All of those things. I think that would be pretty amazing. I think that would be really cool and really amazing. So as we start to bring this little chat this morning to a close, I just want to share a thought that I thought would be pretty cool. And that is, what I'd love to do is when we get to the point of singing the peace song, after we're done, what I would love to do is I would love to lead us together as a family out of the space, holding hands as we walk out the door one last time together as a family. Do you think we can do that? I think it'd be really cool to honor the past, to honor each other, to honor everything in terms of the way it was, and then also stepping into the new. Okay? Think we can do that? Awesome. Don't ever forget how incredibly special you are. Each and every one of you are an amazing, incredible expression of the divine. You are beautiful, you are needed, you matter, and we care. Don't ever forget that. You're incredible. And thank you for touching my life the way that each and every one of you, in your own unique way, does. I'm one of the luckiest guys on earth, and I know it. And you are a part of that blessing. Don't ever forget that. You are the light of the world. And I love you. Thank you. God bless.